call on private and local order of the day number 3.
Royal New Zealand Foundation of the Blind Act, Repeal Bill, first reading.
Mr. Speaker.
I call Tim McIndoe.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Royal New Zealand Foundation of the Blind Act Repeal Bill be now read a first time. At this point, sir, I would have been nominating a select committee to consider the bill should it pass its first reading, but I noticed that there's actually a contradiction between the notes I've received from the sponsor of the bill and the advice contained on the drill sheet. So for the benefit of the House, I propose to nominate later, probably in the right of reply, which select committee should be considering the bill. At the outset, sir, I should acknowledge that the Honourable Nikki Wagner is the sponsor of this bill, and I am honoured to be performing this task on her behalf. I also want to extend my greetings to Foundation of the Blind members and staff in my home Waikato region. I very much enjoyed, as I know my colleague David Bennett, the MP for Hamilton East, did, joining them last year for their 125th anniversary celebrations. They do an excellent job, and David and I are very proud to represent them here in our Parliament. I know that they and many other organisations are deeply grateful for the genuine interest and enthusiasm that the Honourable Nikki Wagner demonstrates for their work, needs and challenges in her capacity as Minister for Disability Issues. She is an excellent advocate for and friend to the many organisations supporting our disabled communities throughout New Zealand. Most unfortunate to receive such an unhelpful and ignorant interjection, I must say. I'm also delighted to be introducing a bill for the first time in my parliamentary career. I have to say, after nearly 7.5 years, that's quite something for me. So in 2015, the Royal New Zealand Foundation of the Blind, which is now known as the Blind Foundation, celebrated, as I've mentioned a few moments ago, 125 years of providing life-changing services to people who are blind or are partially sighted. The foundation traces its origins to the Jubilee Institute for the Blind, which was established in 1890. Back in 1890, just a couple of years before you came into existence, I think, Mr. O'Connor. More recently, in 1963, the Royal New Zealand Foundation for the Blind Act 1963 was passed, which established the foundation as a statutory body under the name Royal New Zealand Foundation for the Blind. In 2002, the foundation wished to clarify its status as a body controlled primarily by and for the benefit of people who are blind or have limited vision, and to modernise its structure and governance arrangements, giving it the characteristics of an incorporated society. The foundation also wished to change its name to the Royal New Zealand Foundation of the Blind, more accurately to reflect the organisation's modern philosophy. To that end, this House enacted the Royal New Zealand Foundation of the Blind Act in 2002. The Act provided the Foundation with an option to register as an incorporated society and was structured in such a way as to become spent if the Foundation chose to exercise that option. The Foundation registered as an incorporated society on the 10th of January 2012, and accordingly this Act is now spent or redundant. The Foundation considers it desirable, therefore, that the Act be repealed, and there are two main reasons for this. Firstly, that keeping the Act on the statute books causes confusion, as it suggests that the Foundation is still a statutory body when it is not. And secondly, that the repeal of the Act will emphasise the Foundation's status as an entity that is completely independent from Parliament. Throughout the Foundation's rich history, the organisation has continued to adapt to the changing needs of society, from its beginnings as a school for blind children to today's multifaceted organisation, which offers a range of services and support. Currently, the Foundation offers services that empower and support people who are blind or have limited vision to lead independent lives and reach their full potential. These services include support for the blind and partially sighted in independent living and getting around, helping them with technology, ways to continue reading, which of course is so vitally important to them, and communicating in general, and advice about staying in or looking for work, which is obviously also of tremendous importance to those wishing to maintain a high level of independence. The Foundation also offers professional services to assist the wider community to engage constructively with people who are blind or are partially sighted. Such services, sir, are invaluable to our communities. The Foundation's strategic plan for the 2015 to 2020 period contains 4 key priorities: promoting independent living, achieving access for all, reaching more people, and building a foundation for the future. The Foundation's members and associated parties regard the repeal of the Act as the final step towards full member governance and self-determination, and towards assisting the Foundation to achieve its goals. Sir, I'm sure that everyone in this House is aware of the great work that the Foundation achieves for New Zealanders who are blind or partially sighted. I hope that all members, therefore, will join me in congratulating and thanking the Foundation for their fantastic work so far in the 126 years that they have provided service throughout this nation, and wish them all the best as the Foundation takes this next step in a long and proud history. I understand, sir, that it is necessary for me to nominate a committee to consider the bill during the course of this speech. I therefore nominate that the bill be considered by the Health Select Committee, and I know that they will give it excellent consideration, and I'm delighted to have the chair of that very fine committee here in the House tonight. I know he will receive it with rapture and give it due consideration. And sir, with both, Mr. O'Connor, you are a person of great capacity and I have enormous confidence in your abilities.
Bring me into it.
Sir, you too, Mr. Deputy Speaker, are a person of great capacity, but I don't wish to be making any personal comments. Sir, it is therefore with great pleasure that I commend the Royal New Zealand Foundation of the Blind Act Repeal Bill to the House, and I'm particularly pleased that the Attorney-General has enjoyed this fine oration.
Members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. I call Poto Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.